to this quick class here, or we're going to cover all the basics for the Hilt. We'll see about the Hilt setup, about application class, how to set up the Android entry point, and we're going to see the 3 types of injection here: the constructor, the field, and the method one. Let's keep it simple and let's start this already. Let's not make a big deal of this begin here, but if you want to learn this and a lot more, we're going to cover in deep more advanced topics later. Subscribe. Let's start with the setup Hilt here. For the setup Hilt, we can go to our Hilt.gradle from the app package here. So here we're going to add our libraries from the Hilt that is necessary. I will update this one here, and let's add here the Hilt version like this, Hilt version, and for the Hilt version here I will use 2.57.2 like this. Is the last one when I'm recording this video, and here we can just add Hilt like this. Actually, the group one is Google Dagger, Hilt Android, and Hilt version, Hilt compiler. It's right here, Hilt compiler like this. We just call the group Google Dagger, Hilt Android compiler, Hilt version like this. For the capture plugin here, if you have difficulties to add this, but once you know how it's done, it's really easy. So here for the ID, we type org JetBrains Kotlin capture like this, and the version is the Kotlin version. And for the Dagger, you call this ID. Here you can come Google Dagger Hilt Android like this, and this is the Hilt version here. Now you just have to implement our libraries here and our plugins. Here in the implementation part, we can just station libs Hilt, and the capture one is lib Hilt compiler like this. And here we can just call the alias for our libs.plugins.capture like this, and our alias for the Dagger tool like this. Here in the build.gradle on the project level now, we just have to call this here and apply false for them. We can just do this, so libs.plugins capture absol, and for the Dagger one here too, you can just apply false like this. Apply false. Let's sync here and see if everything is right at the point. Should be fine by now. You can see the imports now are working, and we can just run the projects to see if it's going to be okay. We can close this for now. And okay, we done this one, done with the setup Hilt here. Let's create an application class here, because application classes are mandatory for the Hilt one. Here, let's click Android here, it's easier for you. And here we can just create a new package called DI, dependency injection. And here we can create our application. Okay, here we can create a new class, and let's call this, let's see, Hilt tutorial application like this. Let's add this, and for our application class we just have to extend application like this. Let's import this application, and here, as I said, application class is mandatory for Hilt, and we have to annotate this with our Hilt Android app. Hilt Android app. Import this class here from Hilt, and since we defined the application class, we have to declare this in the manifest. So you go here in the manifest one, and here we have to set up a name, and like this is suggesting here, you just put your application class here. I'll get rid of this. That's this for the application class. We can define AndroidEntryPoint. For the AndroidEntryPoint, we gonna do this in the main activity here, like this. And the AndroidEntryPoint is assigned like this. It is a sign that Hilt should inject the dependency here into this class. It basically tells the Hilt that this is the place where you need to provide the dependencies I've requested. It's really important. If you annotate Android class with AndroidEntryPoint, with this annotation here, then you must annotate Android classes that depend on it. For example, if you annotate a fragment, then you must annotate any activities where you use this fragment. Any dependencies have to be annotated. In this case here, we just gonna to annotate this main activity. It's a simple application. You should be fine with this. Now let's see about the structure injection. Now we can create a package here. Let's create a package called database like this. Here in the database package, we can create database service for us. In the database, let's create a classifier here. Let's create a class and let's go to the database service like this. Let's just simulate here. You can inject this constructor here. In the database service, we're going to make injection to provide this database service to a dependency graph. You can just annotate with inject X and pass here constructor, and this one will be empty one. And here we can just, let's make a log here, fun logging. Let's expect a message, a string like this, and here we can just make a log here, log.t. and here let's make this a little bit more clear. You can see where this is going from. Let's basic message, and then we print this message here. And this is where we're going to filter all logs. We can see for us to implement it, let's remove this here. Now where I can put this, let's put in your Android application here. Let's create a constructor here, and here we can just say database service tag like this. You can inject this to or like this tag. Make sure to select the one you just created. Now you can create, let's see here in the database, let's create another class here, and let's call this database adapter like this. Let's first inject the constructor here like this. Let's import, and in the constructor now we're gonna to expect our database here, or database service like this. Okay, here we are injecting in the constructor, and you just can use this now. Fun. Let's call this log, and we're going to pass here database service log and passing the message that we're gonna to receive from our main activity here. Let's make a log d here. You can see that's going to be called here too. Let's import this tag database adapter message. Okay, you can see that's be calling for this one. This was the field injection. Let's just call this in the main activity. You can see how you can do this. The beauty of Hilt is going to happen now. You can just call the injection here like this, and here we can create late init var database adapter and database adapter like this. We don't have to instantiate this because the Hilt will know how to do this for us. Now we can just call this here and log and pass the message. Let's pass hello Hilt, classic one, right? And now we can just run this and see the logs here. Let's just call the deck. Just see. Oh, okay, it should be inside your main activity like this. The Y is going crazy here. Let's try again. Let's run this because I just told you that this should be inside. That's calling with AndroidEntryPoint. This is the Y. You can see in the practice how this works. Let's just take this tag here. You can filter in the. You can see the database adapter message will call, and then the service one was called. Let's do this, and let's open our app again. Let's just run again. So you can see that adapter message and then the service call. Let's go here. The database adapter is being called here, injected. You don't instantiate it, but this knows how to work. The main activity don't know about the implementation, just know how to use this. You can see we pass for this one, the adapter message, and then we go to the database service and we see this message here. So okay, let's keep going now. Have the constructor injecting our class here in the constructor. This is the constructor injector. You have the field injector, and now we're just missing the method one. It's not common to use this, but let's see how this is done. You just have here in your main activity. We can just outside here. Let's create a function. Let's call this direct to database like this. Here we can paste the database service like this, and we can just call the database service log or hello from, and let's call this method like this, method injection. Okay, what you're going to do here, we'll just inject this one like this. Now I'm just run here, you can see what's really happening. Let's wait a second, but this should be print first like this. You can see that's print first, but why? This is called first because it's a method injection and it's being called the database service is available to root or to your dependency graph. It's not normal to use this case here. It's like a shortcut, but it's cool, you know that it exists. We have the constructor one, we have the field one, that is one here, field injection. In the adapter here we have the constructor injection like this, and in your activity we have the method injection like this. This was the basics. Hope it was helpful for you. I see you in the more deep and advanced one. Let's talk about modules.